Well, hi again, everyone. Reverend Stephen Morgan, Assistant Minister from St Anne's Church in Chasetown here, with another midweek message, thought of the day for you. I don't know about you, but as I've gone through life, I sometimes feel as if somebody's gone through the world and switched the price tags on everything. As things that ought to be treated as precious, such as family, friends, and faith, appear to have become inconsequential, whereas climbing up the corporate ladder and acquiring more money and possessions appears to have become more important. And let's face it, it's so easy these days to get caught up in the culture of materialism that says to us, have more, possess more, work more hours, get to the top. But unfortunately, end up half killing ourselves in the process. And so during this time, over the last 16, 17 months, while we've been grappling with the issues and uncertainties caused by COVID-19, I've been praying a lot and hoping that people will use this time, the times of lockdown and other times during this pandemic, to reflect on what is really important to them in life and what is it that they truly need. And what I'm trying to say is epitomised in the following story I'd like to share with you now about an American investment banker who was enjoying a holiday in Mexico when he visited a small coastal fishing village. And he was enjoying lunch outside a cafe one day close to the harbour when he noticed a small fishing boat with just one fisherman aboard the boat was about to dock. And straight away he could see inside the boat were several yellowfin tuna fish. And so he went over to the boat and he complimented the Mexican fisherman on the quality of his fish. And he asked him, how long did it take you to catch them? Only a little while, the fisherman replied. And then the banker asked, well, why don't you stay out longer in the boat and catch more fish? To which the fisherman said, I always catch enough to provide for all of my family's needs. The banker then asked the fisherman, what do you do for the rest of the time? And the fisherman replied, I sleep late, fish a little, then play with my children, take a siesta in the afternoon, and then in the evening I stroll into the village where I enjoy a few drinks and play guitar with my amigos. I live a full and happy life. The banker scoffed and said, I'm an Harvard MBA and I could help you. You should spend more time fishing and buy a bigger boat, and with the proceeds from the bigger boat you could then buy several boats. Eventually, he said, you would have a fleet of fishing boats, and instead of selling your catch to the middleman, you could sell direct to the processor, and eventually you could even open up your own cannery. The banker continued, at this point, he said you would control your own product and distribution. However, you would need to leave this small fishing village and move to Mexico City, where you could manage your expanding empire. The fisherman then asked the banker, how long would this take? To which the banker replied, about 15 to 20 years. What would I do then? Said the fisherman. The banker laughed and said, well, when the time comes, you could announce an IPA, sell your stocks and shares and become very rich. You'd make millions. Millions, said the fisherman. And then what would I do? The banker replied, well, that's the best part. You could retire and move to a small fishing village like this, where you can sleep late, fish a little, play with your children, take a siesta with your wife, and in the evening you could stroll into the village, enjoy a few drinks, and play guitar with your amigos. Well, doesn't this story say something to us about the kind of world that we live in and the culture that so many people are caught up in today? This culture of materialism, it promises us everything, but actually delivers very little. And For 25 years in my former career, this was the kind of culture I was experiencing, interviewing people in cases of individual and corporate financial failure. And most of the time, the people I was interviewing, in many cases, they were good business people who were doing very well, but they just wanted more and more and ended up overstretching themselves. And it's this kind of culture that Jesus was speaking about in Mark's Gospel when he said, "What good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul?" And the good news of the Christian faith is that in contrast to this culture, Jesus also speaks in the Gospels about abundance. But it's a different kind of abundance that Jesus talks about that comes through being part of the kingdom of God, which is about an abundance of forgiveness, peace, love, and purpose for living. Now, with all this is going on and what I'm discussing, there are many people who may be listening to this message who think, well, the problem in our society is that people have forgotten about the Christian faith. They've forgotten about Jesus and the message of Christianity. But the sad thing is that it's not that people have often forgotten, but that many people have never heard or been told about the message in the first place. Because if they did, they'd never forget what it was all about. And the good news is that even though we can't be taken out of this culture of materialism and secularism, through following Christ, we can be liberated from it. And through Christ, we can help to liberate others too. That's what happened with myself in my pursuit of career. There was many things that I was able to buy, and occasionally I would overstretch myself and try to get things that I really didn't need. And for many years I knew in the back of my mind and in my heart that God was calling me into ministry. But I tried to put it to one side, no matter what people said to me or what I felt in my own heart God was calling me to do. I really tried to put it to one side to keep pursuing my career. And when I think about what the story I've told you today and what I'm trying to say now, it does remind me of my own journey, my own Christian journey and faith. And those people who would know me, the best way I can describe what happened to me is through telling you another story. And that is that people who know me know that for many years I've always kept pet dogs. And one of the dogs that I had some years back was a greyhound. And this greyhound that we had from the rescue centre, during its racing life, this greyhound run about 54 races. And out of that, he had about 20 first places, 12 second place finishes in races. But then after that, from looking at the greyhound's record online, that tailed off very soon after. And when all of a sudden, towards the end of this short period of the greyhound's racing life, the greyhound wasn't really getting good results anymore. It was finishing last or last but one. And being the kind of inquisitive, simple soul that I am, I imagined myself sort of talking to this greyhound. He was a lovely pet, and the one day I was looking at his record and wondering, well, why did this greyhound stop racing? Why did he quit racing? And I kind of imagined having a conversation with this greyhound and saying, you were racing really well. You were getting first places. You were getting runners-up places and doing so well. And then all of a sudden, you weren't doing so well anymore. And then you just stopped racing. Why did you quit? Were you injured? Was there something wrong with you? And I could hear the greyhound in my mind saying to me, no, I wasn't injured. I could still race well if I wanted. I could have still done really well and won races. And just saying to him, well, why then did you quit? And then I just, in my mind's eye, heard the greyhound say to me, I quit because I found that rabbit I was chasing wasn't real. And that's how I came to leave my job and take up the call myself into God's church, into ministry, because I realised, like that greyhound, that what I was really chasing wasn't real for me. And I had to stop, take stock, listen to God, and follow the real race, my real calling. And that's what I'd like to put over to you today. Find out what it is that really matters in your life. Let's stop chasing the rabbit that's going to lead us to further debt or wanting more. Let's be content and let's stop and be quiet and reflect upon what we really want and get on with what God is perhaps calling us to do. So let's stop chasing after things that will not satisfy, that aren't real, but rather look towards those things that are real through following Christ. And if you'd like to know more about that, please do check out our church website, St Anne's Church at Chasetown, online, and perhaps leave a message for myself so we can talk further. But that's all for today. Hope you've enjoyed the message for midweek, for today, and God bless you all. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. God bless. Bye.